Good morning, Math 6 students and any pre-algebra students who may want to watch this video. It will be beneficial for you as well. Talk about today how to take information from a frequency table and then convert it into information that you can use on a circle graph so that actual information communicates with each other and there's a connection between the two. So I've constructed just a generic frequency table here. We see that we have subjects, we have tally marks, and we have frequency, or the number of times something occurs. So I just randomly polled students what their favorite subject was in school, and I had 5, 6, 7, 8 people say mathematics, so that means a frequency of 8. So I'm just changing the frequency or the tallies into whole numbers. I have science, I have 5, 10. Social studies I had 5. Sorry, Miss Spagnola. And for language arts I had 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if I want to convert this information, these whole numbers, into information I can then put onto a circle graph, I know that I have to make these into percents. Well, to make something in percents, I have to figure out how much of the whole each one represents. So I have to add all these numbers together to figure out how many people I actually polled or asked this question to. So I have 8 and 10 is 18, plus 5 is 23, plus another 8 is 31. So let me just double check my math real quick. 8 and 8 is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, 31. Now, of those 31 kids, 8 out of the 31, I can make that into a fraction, chose math. Okay, if I look at science, we had 10 of the 31 chose science. Let me slide this over here. I had 5 out of 31 choose social studies. And then I had 8 out of the 31 choose language arts. Just making fractions here, boys and girls. What part of the whole? Okay, now I need to convert those into decimals and times those to get percent. So 8 out of 31, so 8 divided by 31 gives me this decimal, but I want to make it into percent, so I'm going to times it by 100 because all percents are out of 100. Okay, that gives me, now I'm going to do an approximation here. I see it's 25 and 8/10. I'll round that to the nearest whole number. That would give me roughly 26%, or approximately, that's a little squiggly equal signs mean, approximately 26% of the kids I polled chose mathematics as their favorite subject. Now because of that, I also know that this would also be 26% because they're the same parts, 8 out of 31. Now I'll go over to science, which is the most popular. 10 kids of the 21, so 10 divided by 31 gives me this. I'm going to times that by 100. Gives me 32 and 2/10, which if I were to approximate that, that gives me 32% because that 2 does not tell me to round it up. And then finally, sorry, Miss Spagnola, only 5 kids out of the 31 chose social studies as their favorite subject. I'm going to times that by 100 because percents are out of 100. Gives me, let's see here, let's look at my approximation. That's 16 and 1/10. That 1 does not tell me to round up, so that gives me 16% of the students I polled, of the 31, chose social studies as their favorite subject. Now I need to put this data, the percents, into this circle graph, or sometimes you may have called it a percent circle. First thing I need to know with all graphs, any type of data representation needs a title. So all I'm going to do is, since these are all sixth graders, favorite subject. So I need to have a title for everything, whether it's a line plot, stem and leaf, whatever it may be. I need to know what that data is representing. So as a reader of the graph, I can say, oh, okay, now I understand. This is their favorite sports team or favorite sport to play, something of that nature. So I have my circle graph. I'm going to put a dot, or what looks to be a decimal point, try to locate the center. Okay. Now, if I recall, this is all 100%. The whole thing would be representative of 100% of the people polled. I like to put an X here, an X here, at the top and bottom, because if I draw a line down, that's 50%. I've divided into 2 parts. If I put an X here and an X, let me move this up, over here, we have now broken into 4 parts or fourths or quarters, so each one of these quadrants or sections would be 25%. Now I don't have anything being receiving 25%, but I do have 2 of them, math and language arts, being very close to 25%. So if I were to draw a line, let me get something as I draw a straight line. If I were to draw a line from here to here, let me move that over just a tad. Okay. Now, from here to here, that's 25%. So I'm just going to go just a slight bit larger. Oh, thought I was on my line there. Let's see here. There you go. All right. So, let me erase these markings here. There we go. So, it's just going to be a tight bit bigger. So that would be 26%. Okay, that means this part here is no longer 25%, it's 1% less, so it's 24%. So I'm going to go from here and make it just a tad bit bigger. So that's now gives me roughly, again, these are approximations. Sometimes a circle graph, if I'm doing it freehand as I am now, we will have it just a slight, not completely accurate, but this is an approximation to give me a good visual. So this we will say math, and I'll even say the percent, 26%. This is language arts, and this also is 26%. Now I have social studies, which is 16%, science, which is 32%. Now still from this point to this point, this is still 25%. Now I like to do this as well. Half of 25% gives me 12.5. So there's a 12.5 right about here. So this is 12.5, this is 25. Now we're going to get a little bit of arguing here, but I want to figure out where could I put the line, because either one, whatever I do next, the rest of the section is then going to be the other content area. So from, where's my line at? So again, from here to here is 12.5. From here to here is 25. In between there, if I go 4 down, I get roughly, so halfway would be 21, and then let's see here, 4 more is 16. Let's see. So I'm going to approximate that, let's say right about there is going to be, now this is the smaller section, so would it make sense that that's social studies or that's science? It's the smaller of the 2%, so it must be, I'm sorry, social studies. So this is social studies. And this is then going to be, the rest of it's going to be science. And let's not forget to put our percents. That's 32%. This is 16%. Okay, notice I have 4 content areas or 4 subjects. I have 4 distinct sections on my circle graph. There are no blank spaces where I just write the word other. All the content areas are represented on this circle graph. There's no extra ones that they didn't include here, which I've seen sometimes. So hopefully that helps you out with using information on a frequency table, converting it to percents, and then putting those percents onto a circle graph. Take care.